If you are going through menopause or perimenopause and you just can't seem to find comfort in your body anymore, or you are done with menopause but you still feel horrible, at least ever so often with the hot flashes, you have to try LWC Wild Hemp Cream. LWC Wild Hemp Cream is not just a cream for women going through menopause, but it also helps those suffering with painful irregular periods, fibroids, cysts, PMS, and all things reproductive. It has become a phenomenon. Women who have used it can't stop talking about it or telling other women about it. LWC, the company that makes the Wild Hemp Cream, is dedicated to making women's life easier. That means using ingredients that are organic and come from natural herbs that will not have adverse effects proven to work for women. They make no compromises when it comes to quality, and it shows. LWC Wild Hemp Cream contains herbal extracts called adaptogens. Now, here's the beauty about adaptogens. They help the body adjust to stressors like chaotic hormonal changes due to changes caused by synthetic hormone-laden foods, cosmetics, clothing, and environmental factors we may have no control over. Any woman that has symptoms of a hormonal imbalance can take it, but it's perfect for those horrible menopause symptoms that put a woman's life on hold, like hot flashes, night sweats, racing thoughts, poor sleep, and low moods. LWC Wild Hemp Cream can help with all those things, and the biggest benefit, feeling like myself again. That's what most women mention over and over again in their reviews. For a limited time offer, you can get 20% off in your first order when you order and mention the Sharon Chiliza podcast in a message following your order. To order, get the ALWC WhatsApp business number on the description below. I'm Sharon Chiliza, a wife, a mother of 7, a gentle homemaker, a medical missionary who lives in rural KZN. My passion is to teach on health and healing and sharing my life experiences on godly parenting, homeschooling, cooking meals from scratch on a plant-based diet, growing organic, and also sharing on natural remedies and how you can use this to reverse chronic and lifestyle disease, or how you can actually change your lifestyle habits to be more healthier. If you are concerned about the health of your family and loved ones, then have no fear. You have come to the right place. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Sharon Chiliza podcast. So today we actually are on part 6 of what we are doing to prepare for the coming financial crisis as a family. Just wanted to talk about something that's very important. I know I spoke about nutrition and the ability to have access to nutritious foods and so forth, but I was listening yesterday to a video clip. It's actually a news article that was mentioned about some citrus farmers in the Cape that actually export citruses to America, and how they've been hit with tariffs. Though the tariffs are on hold right now and there's negotiations pending, as soon as the decision is made, the tariffs will take effect if the negotiations went against the South African negotiators, or the tariffs will not take effect. One of the things that came to my mind that I have not covered so far in regards to this podcast, it's learning how to forage for natural food. So that's one of the things that we're going to survive with. I was looking at our garden, as I mentioned in one of the episodes, that we are actually we've opened a huge portion. It's about 1 hectare that we are clearing, and we are planning to sort out the irrigation, and that we're going to be planting our vegetable garden there. And in my mind, I actually was saying, oh goodness, if the crisis were to hit, and I see, with what we've been given, America has frozen the tariffs for 3 months. Do you know that it takes 3 months for most vegetables to grow from seed to vegetable that you can actually harvest? And so for me, I thought, okay, we've got 3 months to do that, and we still are not ready to actually put the seed on the ground. We still are sorting out, we're still working the land to get it into the right condition. And chances are, we might get there, and yes, we might have some things, because there are other things that, get to harvest point a lot quicker, in about a month and a half, depends on how you put it on the ground. So we're planning to get seedlings as well. Seedlings are much more quicker. So that's what we'll probably put on. But now I was just thinking that if it happens that in 3 months' time, we hit with the tariffs and food prices, start escalating, and it becomes more and more unaffordable to actually purchase food in stores, especially the fresh produce on our part, because we are on a plant-based diet and we eat high raw. And then I thought, Lord, what are we going to do? Then I started thinking, this is where I need to start getting my family used to the natural greens that are available in nature. You never need to plant them. They grow on their own and they are just in abundance, as long as you keep away the animals. So we've fenced our property now, and so the animals are not coming in. And I just looked outside. There was an abundance of alfalfa, an abundance of dandelion. There was an abundance of blackjack, an abundance of we actually got the seeds and we sprinkled them I remember the name in Sesotho, which is tepe, of just amaranth in English. There's an abundance of amaranth outside. Then just recently, one of the men who actually works for us and is ever helping us with setting up this place, he's a local man. He showed me the other day the natural mushrooms that grow, that you could forage, in the yard, and they grow almost all over. And in my mind, I was thinking, do I still need to buy mushrooms? No ways! We've got mushrooms growing absolutely free that we can forage and actually prepare and eat as a family. I told you as well that we've got, guava trees growing all over. And right now it's guava season. We're eating guavas like nobody's business. Big, beautiful, juicy, sweet guavas, not planted by anyone, save for the poop from the cows and the goats. And they're spreading these trees so quickly. I just think that it's God's solution for us for the time of a financial crisis. At least we will have free guavas. We also have some granadillas that are just growing wildly. So, because they also grow because of poop. So we're so grateful for those things. But I was just saying, foraging is one of the skills that one needs to master. And it's easy to learn what things to forage for when you're in the country. But I actually remember that when I lived in Joburg, in my mom's property, our yard was quite large for a yard in Johannesburg, and we had at the back of our yard plantain and dandelion and alfalfa growing widely, blackjack growing widely on its own, amaranth growing widely on its own, and so a lot of people were not cognizant of this or even using them because we are now so westernized. Everything we eat has to be bought from a store. But with my mom, we used to get those, but we all often use them more as herbs than as food. But these can actually be used as food. You can eat them with your carbs. You can eat them with potatoes. You can eat them with your yellow polenta maize meal. You can eat them with rice. Do what you like. And I was thinking, this is what a lot of people can start learning. Like Google, just say herbs around, I don't know where you may be based, Johannesburg, wild herbs around Johannesburg that grow, or, yes, you get what I'm saying. Just Google that and start learning how to identify them so that would be your go-to. But not only identify them, start using them, start incorporating them in your salads, start incorporating them when you cook. When you buy morogo or spinach, add them in there so that, you start training your taste buds to love and enjoy them. Because there's nothing as difficult for a child to adjust to as trying to get used to something that they are not familiar with at a time where there's no other option. When there's other options, it's a lot easier because, if I don't like it, I can always eat that. But, at the time of the financial crisis and suddenly you introduce these greens and the children will feel like it's torture, like you're punishing them. So, start incorporating these things into your lifestyle, into your diet, and you'll be so surprised that there's just so much available in nature that our Heavenly Father has made available so that we are never stranded, but we always have. So besides foraging, the other thing that I thought of that I needed to cover is the importance of It's the ability to preserve food. Food preservation. I remember when I was young, when it was summer, we had peach trees at home, we had apple trees, and my mom used to can, It's a lost art. We no longer do that. If you need to get a canning pot, get it now so that you're able to can. I was thinking I don't have a canning pot, so it's one of the top priorities on our list of things to actually get, because I was thinking since it's guava season, I could just can so many guavas. Do you remember those custard and jellies that we used to have in Christmas? And then they would buy those canned guavas, those half sliced guavas that you would just put in the dessert as they were, and they tasted so amazing. And so I thought, I could be canning these guavas, but because I don't have a canner, the season it has come and it's going to phase out, and I wouldn't have stored and I wouldn't have canned, and I don't even have canning bottles. So perhaps start contacting Consol, buying canning bottles, so that even if, let's say, you still don't have a tree that's producing. When you're in Johannesburg, you go to the fruit and veg market. They sell fruits and veggies there in bulk at ridiculous prices, especially when they're seasonal. You could get a box of peaches for like 50 rands. So you just buy 4 boxes, you get home, 1 is for eating, the 3 are for canning, and you just can, put them away. You go the next time, there's nectarines, there's plums, whatever that's in season, can it in bulk. You can can tomatoes, cook them and you can make tomato paste, can it and put it away. You can make any fruit that is cannable, your pineapple rings, your whatever, can them and put them away, so that's the other thing we're planning. We're actually planning, we were talking about it with my husband yesterday, because we just dug this big hole right now for the septic tank here. And my husband said, we need to dig another hole this big. And this time, in fact, he said twice the size. And this time we use it as a food storage place where we can actually put our grains in bulk, nuts, seeds, and whatever. And then we can buy these in bulk and store them in there. What do they call them in America? They call them root cellars. Yes, a root cellar. So we want to create a root cellar here at our place where we can store foods in bulk, buy them in bulk, store them in bulk, and they can keep for a long period because there's no air coming in there. So the rate at which the food starts rotting is absolutely slow, like really minimized, so that we are able to get these foods in bulk, so that while our garden is still thriving, we know that we've got sufficient supplies to actually help us for that time. So that's the other thing that I wished to cover. That's the one thing I also wanted to cover. Maybe the last thing before I wrap up this part about finding foods in nature as opposed to the foods that you've grown. It's learning how to dry foods as well. In my mom's hometown, she was born in Lesotho. When it was apricot season time, they would harvest apricots, slice them into pieces, really thin slices, put them in trays and just put them on the sun and sun dry them, and they would cover them with a net to prevent flies from them. And they call them mangangajane, and we would have like a lot of sun-dried apricots. Learning how to sun-dry things if you don't have a dehydrator, but if you can invest in a dehydrator, getting a dehydrator and saving a lot of the foods in that way. So that's the other one that we're doing. We have a dehydrator here at home, though I want a larger one, but the one that we do have, because it's, a dehydrator is something you can switch on and leave there, and your things dehydrate for 16 hours. You wake up in the morning, you offload, you add more, you leave it there. It can just keep going and going and going, and you just keep. So the one that we have can be utilized, but because we want to do this in bulk, by God's grace, when we have more funds, we're going to buy a bigger one so that we're able to dehydrate more things. So I'm going to talk about other things that you need to do in regards to finding food in nature. I'm going to talk about medicinal herbs in one of the podcasts, because one of the things that's going to happen when there's a food crisis and a financial crisis, there's often pandemics that take place, and that's what we're going to be looking at in one of the episodes. For now, I will see you next time. God bless you, and I hope this was beneficial for you. Share this far and wide with as many people as you possibly can so that more people can be aided by this information. Oh, I just remembered something before I end this. I mentioned the herbs that I know in my area. I mentioned the wild fruits that grow in my area. But I just remembered now that there's so much more. There's Dorotheas. That's the wild figs. Is it feye? Yes, it's the wild fig that grow it's called prickly pears. Yes, not figs. Prickly pears, that you could actually be able to harvest and eat if you know how to do that, if you know how to identify them. So maybe on the comments, I would like for you to just comment and let us know what wild herbs or what wild foods are available in your environment so that we can learn them, and perhaps, we may have them in our area. Just on the description, please just comment and tell us what is it. Then we can Google those, find pictures, try and see in our areas if we've got those. Because the more we know, the more we help each other, the more we all are better prepared. So please do that and share with us. And I will see you next time. Remember to share with as many people as you possibly can so that many may find this saving information. God bless you and goodbye.